Episode 60, The Joy of Staying in Your Lane. Welcome to the First Year Married podcast, where we get real about building the marriage of your dreams. I'm marriage coach Kayla Levin, and I take newly married and engaged women from anxious and insecure to confident and connected through practical tips, real-life inspiration, and more than a little self-awareness along the way. Hey ladies, welcome back. It's been an awesome January. I'm recording this February 2nd, probably the day that it's going to go out. We've had a really busy month adjusting to this new group coaching program, and I've got to say it is beyond what I had hoped. It's so exciting to get on the screen and really be working with you and interacting with you. I mean, I'm doing it all the time in my one-on-one coaching, but there's something so special about a group of women seeing each other and seeing that we're all kind of dealing with very similar things when we're newlyweds. So it's just been an amazing month. You'll hear my voice is a little bit raspy, but I'm so happy to be here recording this episode with you. I'm going to be giving you a little bit of a sneak peek into what we're doing in February in the group coaching program. This is sort of the focus. So let me start here. I get asked a lot, do I teach the men? Right? So like I run this online course, all this material you need to know when you're getting married and really common stumbling blocks and where people are getting really tripped up and where the fighting is coming from. So why don't the guys need to hear it, right? Or they'll say like, does your husband teach men, or do you work with somebody else who teaches the men? Why not? Right? Because I don't. And for sure there is a need for it, right? We know that everybody, male or female, needs a teacher or a mentor or something to help them to grow. But here's the thing that I see working specifically with newlyweds, that 90% of the time, the struggles that we're dealing with, and I could say 90% of the people, but I'm really meaning 90% for each individual. 90% of the time, the struggles that we're dealing with are really happening in our own heads. Honestly, the husband is kind of irrelevant some of the time. Sorry, husbands, if you're listening. You know, we can have drama about you regardless of what you're doing. So I want to invite you, whether you're in the group coaching program or not, to join us for our monthly focus for February, which is being the wife you want to be. If you're listening to this podcast on time, you've got a whole month to be focusing on this, to be thinking about this material, journaling about it. And those of you, of course, in the program, we've got a lot more going on. I'm going to be talking this week about the three main parts, as I see it, of staying in our lane: emotionally, physically, and showing up. So let's start with emotionally. Instead of feeling good because of what he's been doing or not doing, and of course what you made that all mean, let's feel good because you're taking care of your own emotional well-being. And for some of you, especially if you're new here, and by the way, there are so many new people, and welcome. I'm so happy you're here. I know that, whether you're new or not, for some of you, that's going to sound like such a cop-out, right? Like, why, Kayla, are you letting him off the hook? But here's the crazy truth. He doesn't have the ability to make you happy anyway. Only you can do that. And in the beginning of our marriage, we have to spend a lot of effort and time wrapping our head around that. So I'm going to say it again. He doesn't have the ability to make you happy anyway. Only you can do that. That is not what you've been fed, right? Now you're married, you're going to be so happy because he's your perfect person. So if I'm not happy, but I'm married, maybe he's not my perfect person. Maybe something's horribly wrong. Maybe I can change him into becoming my perfect person. Maybe if I just tell him about that thing that he did that I didn't like, that made me feel sad, right? That's when we get into that like total spin. So the best place to start is that whenever we notice our mind wandering to the negative or our feelings reacting, and you know what I mean when I'm talking about, you're not just having a feeling, you're having like a reaction to the way that he's acting or who he seems to be, to just gently remind ourselves to get back into our own lane. So let me give you an example. Let's say he missed date night because he stayed late at work. So your automatic thought, because our brains, again, they tend to veer towards the negative. So it's likely to be something along the lines of, if he really cared, he wouldn't miss date night, which then we have to continue this to really understand why we freaked out. Therefore, since he missed date night, he doesn't really care about me. Therefore, what am I going to do? I'm married to a husband for the rest of my life that doesn't care about me. Okay. But you know what other thoughts are equally true about the exact same scenario? I love being married to a man who's a hard worker. Or I don't really get so hung up on things like that. Or I'm a pretty flexible, laid back person. Or I love having a relationship where we can change plans at the last minute and we're both totally fine. Guess how many women out there would be thrilled for their husbands to want to work that hard? Because I know for my clients, I've got one group telling me that there's no way they could possibly be happy because their husband doesn't work hard. And I've got the other half telling me they can't possibly be happy because their husband works too hard. Right? This is why we have group coaching and we need to hear each other. Like I said, he can't make you happy. There isn't a happy medium, right? There's only what you make it mean. What is too much work anyway? Is there like an amount of hours somewhere that we all mutually agreed upon at some point? Where did you come up with the idea of what's too much and what's not enough? That's the kind of work that we want to be doing here, right? Questioning your thoughts, figuring out, where do these thoughts come from? Where are these thoughts leading me, right? I don't care how true this thought is. I don't care if this thought seems to really be important. If it's ending up with me passed out on the couch watching Netflix because I can't function because I'm so upset, it's not helpful. Think a different thought. You don't have to think a thought that's not true, but there's lots of true thoughts. Move on. You know what I mean? So here's some thoughts for you to be working on, to be digesting, to be looking for answers for. What do I want to feel about this marriage? Am I choosing to notice the good? Because you have to do it actively. Am I spending time in gratitude? Am I willing to redirect my mind when it goes on a negative, unproductive bent? And what feelings am I generating in this marriage? So emotionally, we want to stay in our lane. Let's move on to physically. How do I take care of me in this marriage? Because we need a whole episode on this phenomenon that I'm seeing where you women like lose yourself. And I say you, I did this too. We lose our self-preservation gene the minute we tie the knot. I don't know where this came from, but suddenly he's responsible for your water intake and whether or not you're overworked and if your feet hurt, right? For sure, it's even more so once you've had kids, by the way. So if you haven't had kids yet, it gets worse unless you work on it now. But is that how you would have acted if you were single? Like, I literally just had this picture of like, you know, a single young adult professional woman like waiting for some guy to like tell her to drink water. Like, no, of course not, right? You're an intelligent human being. You don't need someone to do that. So again, physically, we want to take responsibility for our physical well-being. It sounds so basic, but I'm telling you, it will take care of a good chunk of the frustration or the resentment. Is to just remind yourself, this is not his job. It is objectively not his job to make sure that I go to bed on time or that I ate breakfast this morning or that I had the right groceries in the fridge for me to be able to eat what I need to eat. That's just not his job, right? So we want to get back into our lane and in an empowering way, right? I'm not going to be playing victim here. I'm not going to be waiting around and blaming you for everything. Emotionally, physically, back in my lane. Okay, so what else is there? Well, we want to feel like a good wife, right? But we have to dig a little bit deeper to know what that means. When and what did you decide about what is a good wife? What things are just sticking with you, right? Whether they're for cultural reasons or whatever. I don't really care where they came from, to be perfectly honest. And they're sticking with you and they're giving you guilt or shame or insecurity, but you don't even really believe them intellectually. What are those things? And who are you measuring yourself against? Like, get really clear on that. The next time that you start to feel insecure or like you're not doing a good enough job, I want you to ask yourself, like, who is doing this, right? And what you're going to find is that it's probably only this one aspect of that person that you measure yourself against. And in another area where maybe you know that they're a little bit weaker, you don't measure yourself against them there too. You measure yourself against someone that's strong in that area too, right? So we want to get crystal clear on all those things. We want to get crystal clear on what ideas are rattling around in our heads, specifically here this month, about what makes a great wife. And then you can do that work of clarifying which values you truly believe, right? Once you've identified kind of what's like sticking for you that you don't really want there, then you can go back and you could be like, well, what do I really choose? I actually really like this difference between the phrase a good wife and a great wife. I feel like a good wife helps me remember like all the sort of insecurity type things that I associate with, and a great wife is like much more empowering. That's who I want to be. So I want you to bring those values. I want you to bring that woman into the marriage. I want you to figure out who she is on your terms and just see what that creates. I'm going to sit back here and watch and smile because you will not believe it. It's going to be an amazing month, ladies. So this is our focus for the month. If you want to send me messages, if I'm over on Instagram at First Year Married, those of you not on Instagram, just email me, Kayla@firstyearmarried.com. I might not get back to you right away, but I do try to get back to everybody. And if you want to join us, by the way, to take this work further, this is the focus of February. In our focus video, our workbooks, you can really implement all of this. And of course, our live group coaching calls. Group coaching is only available to people who have graduated or enrolled in the First Year Married online course. That is so that we can take this work so much deeper. The whole idea behind First Year Married Online was for me to get all the material that I was going through with my one-on-one clients, condense it into a 6-week course so that you're hitting the ground running. But from there, you are in the perfect position to be joining us in group coaching. And I would love to have you there. And by the way, right now, people who sign up for First Year Married Online actually get the first 3 months of group coaching completely free, wrapped in. I want you to get a chance to try it out and to get that live support while you're going through the group. So you sign up at www.firstyearmarried.com. I cannot wait to see you inside. And for all of you, have a great week. Bye-bye.